If you're a health or a life coach and the whole rhetoric around growing your business to 6 or 7 figures just doesn't feel quite aligned for some reason, then this is going to be the episode of the show for you. I'm going to talk all about how embracing the cozy coaching business can make a huge difference for you. Let's dive in. Hi there, welcome to the Wholehearted Business Show. I'm Laura. I help health and life coaches get more clients, grow their businesses and live the best lives while they do it. And today on the show we're talking all about what it means to have a cozy coaching business. And this is just a kind of like a term that's been floating around in my mind for quite a few months. And it's something that I think is really reflective in what I'm about as a business and the way that I support other coaches and their businesses. And really for me, it's kind of the opposite to what we see online around growing your business to 6 and 7 figures. And as we'll see in a minute, it's not actually about the money. It's not about the income. It's not about growing your business to that level. It's about almost like the culture around that whole thing. I'm trying to think of a better way to explain it, but I think if you've been around online and you've been anywhere around, just the entrepreneurship, online coaching space, you might be resonating with what I'm saying. So I wanted to explore a bit about that today and also just talk about how embracing the cozy coaching business might be the solution that you need, the different way of seeing your business, the much more positive way of being in a relationship with your business that you need. So as I said before, this is not necessarily about the money. This is really about the approach and the culture around how you see your business. And I think a lot of this comes into that, like I say, that rhetoric, that culture around the 6 and 7 figure online business has almost become like this pinnacle of success. And I think for me, although things have definitely shifted over the last couple of years, I think kind of going back a few years, even before COVID, I think it was probably more prevalent then to a certain degree. But it felt like that was the pinnacle of success that we should all be aiming for, is to have like these 6 and 7 figure, like hugely skilled businesses that are making so much money. That was kind of like the success, the pinnacle of success. It was very much like girl boss culture. And the word that's coming up for me now is like quite extractive with your business. So it's really about kind of the relationship that you had with your business in this context, in that 6, 7 figure cultural context, was almost like cutthroat. And I mean, again, this is very much my kind of feelings about it. And I'd love to know what you guys feel. You might feel completely differently to me, but I'm kind of sharing my own lived experience around this, but almost to the point of being slightly exploitative, not just of potentially customers and clients, but also like of the coach themselves, and like how much it was just about it. It felt like the way to approach getting your business to that point was really about scaling you out of the picture almost. You were being put into this like CEO kind of position. You were employing others. Often, again, there was like this culture of leveraging much, much lower paid people, sometimes like in really unethical ways, to build your success. And for me, there was something that always just did not feel right about it at all. And like I say, I think for me, it was something that I felt really at odds with. I felt like I wanted more money. Like, who doesn't want more money in their lives and businesses? Like, it makes a big difference. But there was something underneath it that just didn't sit right, and it just felt really off. And then also on the flip side, the other issue is that only a certain percentage, realistically, of coaches were reaching those points. So you had like the unicorns who were actually hitting those kind of massive figures, and a lot of them doing a really amazing job. And I should say, like, this is not to do with the actual numbers or the money or even the individuals. Like, there's plenty of online coaches who are making 6 and 7 figures and doing so really ethically and amazingly. But yeah, there was just something around that whole thing that kind of felt off. And I think for me, it just, not everyone was going to achieve that, and that's fine. But it felt like I felt like a big failure because I wasn't buying into that in the way that a lot of other people were. And also I think there was a bit of something linked to this, which was about investing really big amounts of money. It almost felt a bit pyramid schemey in terms of, you pay me however much money to work with me as a coach, and I will teach you how to therefore charge people the same amount of money that I've just charged you. And it's all just kind of weird. I did a really great episode of the show with Ray Dodd, who's a money mindset coach. And I think there's some interesting stuff to look at around this. But I've always said, and I've definitely said this in other episodes of the show, You know, some things are a mindset thing and some things are just like, this is fucking bullshit thing. And I know that it's fucking bullshit. And I really believe that we've all got a sense of what that is for us. So while, yes, there's probably some money mindset stuff mixed into that, there's also my sense of my bullshitometer was going off, you know what I mean? So I think it's really, really interesting as someone who is in the online business coaching space. I've always felt this is really important for me to kind of grapple with and get to grips with for myself. And the Cosy coaching business for me is very much the way that I prefer to approach it. And like I say, it's not actually about the income or the money. Like I could make 6-7 figures and still, I believe, have a Cosy coaching business. And there's people out there who do it. You know, I've talked plenty about Elizabeth Goddard. I think she's a really good example. I don't necessarily think she would label herself like in the Cosy business kind of thing, but she is someone who's making a lot of money in her business. She's open about the fact that she's got children and that they impact how she shows up in her business, and she's open about how she's got a chronic illness and how that sometimes impacts her business. And I think that's what drew me to working with her originally. So there's definitely people out there who are doing it in a different way. But this is why I've always felt this pull towards a Cosy business. And I mean, obviously, you know, I talk about being wholehearted in our businesses, and that is definitely something that is really come through as part of this, is this kind of counteracting this culture of being exploitive or extractive in your business, you know, being slightly unethical potentially, and kind of going after monetary like versions of success over all else. Because yes, money's amazing, and right now I'm really working on getting my business model to a place. I've kind of got over the last couple of months, something dropped in, as it always does. I think I was talking about in one of the episodes of the show that I did, was a behind the scenes episode not so long ago. Something that really dropped, you know, at the time I'd been through like a bit of a rough patch and income was a bit all over the place, and a lot of people were reporting things in online business space wasn't going so well. Things have completely shifted since then, as always happens. Had a really great couple of months, but also something's really dropped in about my own business model and about how I want to show up, and the income goal that I've got attached to that, which is about 80k. So kind of, you know, not quite the 6 figures, but kind of under that. That's where I'd love to get to. That's my next goal. You know, I've had that goal for a long time, I'll be totally honest. I've had those kind of income goals for a long time, but being able to look back and see how and why and the reasons that I haven't met that yet has been really, really interesting. Anyway, to get back onto the Cosy coaching business, I feel like the whole approach with the Cosy coaching business is about, rather than being led by the income goal, it is about really looking at the way that you want your business to support your life. And again, like, this is nothing new if you've been listening to the show. This is really, really important to me, because I think, you know, ultimately, like, we only get one shot at this life. I think we only get one shot at this life. I think we've got to make the most of it. I think we're not here, like, something that really sat with me. I mean, this is going back years ago, when I was like driving along to my 9 to 5, and it wasn't a terrible job. You know, I didn't hate it or not enjoy it, but I can remember driving along and just thinking, there's got to be more to life than this. Like, this is not, and there was just this deep knowing in me that this was not what I wanted. Like, this was not who I am. This is not how I wanted to live my life out. And that was really scary at the time, just kind of thinking like, well, what's the alternative? And this is before I even knew that coaching business existed. You know, we're talking like 2010 kind of time, and just being like, this is not what I want to do. This is not for me. This is not fulfilling. This is not lighting me up. This is not me. And that's always been the driver. It's not like the money's amazing. And obviously, you know, financial safety point of view, you know, I did an episode of the show on financial safety in your business. I will link to that. You want your business to, at the very, very minimum, like, obviously way, way more, but you want your business as a minimum to give you that financial safety, because you can't thrive without that. But on top of that, it's like, actually, how do I want my business to show up for me? And for me, it's always been around being able to manage my life around my children. Like, that's really important to me, is to be able to have flexibility to live life around them. And then on top of that, I just don't want to be rushing around and feeling like I can't operate like that. Like, my nervous system is just not geared up to manage that at all. So I need to not be rushing around. I need not to be under like insane amounts of pressure. And I mean, yes, running a business yourself and being the person who's responsible for that and responsible for serving clients, there is an inbuilt amount of, you know, quote unquote stress that is associated. And I mean that kind of like, not in the, this is terrible stress, like in the, you know, I want to show up and do a good job, and I need to show up in my business. It's a positive, motivational kind of stress for me. And that was always been the driver. So for me, a Cosy coaching business is about being able to actually have my life look the way that I want to have it. And I get to make that decision every day. I get to decide, okay, today's Tuesday, and this is what I want the day to look like. These are the commitments that I have, that I've made to clients, that the way that I need to show up. And I've made those commitments based on, this is the way that I want to live my life. And that's the difference. It's like saying, when I, for example, set up Wholehearted Business as a program, as a group program, and it was about knowing that the commitments that I'm making to those people who are in that program is that I'm going to do these group calls, I'm going to show up on Vox, I'm going to do this. But me making the decision that's the way that I'm going to show up is based on, that's the way that I want to show up. I love doing group calls. I really love talking to people on Voxer. That's the way that I want to show up. And I know that doing those things allows me to, sometimes work from my pajamas and watch Star Wars while I do some work on the computer or whatever. It means that I can go off to the beach on a Wednesday morning and go for a sea swim if that's what I want. So it's like that for me is what a Cosy coaching business is. It's about that deep, just that like integration with the way that you want to live your life. And yes, income definitely comes into that, and you can do that and have a 6 or 7 figure business. But I feel like there was a culture around this kind of like, you have to have a business that looks like this to be successful, that really didn't feel aligned for me, and perhaps doesn't feel aligned for you. So what I really feel that Wholehearted Lover and my business is all about is helping people create coaching businesses with that as the foundation. And you can still have a successful coaching business with all of that in place. Another great thing about the Cosy coaching business approach is that it's not about necessarily scaling you out of being a coach. A lot of businesses that get to the 6 and 7 figure places, they are designed, or they're based on the fact that the coach actually kind of stops coaching and becomes more of a marketeer and becomes more in the business side. And for some coaches, that actually suits them really, really well, because they are actually much better in the business side of things than they are at coaching. And to be fair, like part of the reason, amongst many reasons why I kind of went in on the business mentoring side of things, is because I'm really good at this. I'm really lit up by this. I really enjoy it. And compared to the health side of things, this was just where all my passions were, and it just made more sense. And for some coaches it will, because they'll be like, actually, I don't want to be talking about hormones anymore, but I want to be learning Facebook ads and then selling something to people that gives them the information that I've already learned about hormones, for example. And that's absolutely fine. But some people will still want to coach. And for me, that connection, that one-to-one connection with coaches, with people that I work with, is priceless. And it makes my business, I believe, what it is today. And it wouldn't be that if I wasn't having that close connection with people. And I don't think I would feel fulfilled either if I didn't have that connection with people either. So, another benefit, again, this is not exclusive to a Cosy kind of coaching business approach, but you don't have to scale yourself out of being a coach when you enjoy actually coaching, and that's actually why you decided to do what it is that you do. So this episode has been a bit of it just kind of popped into my head that I wanted to talk about it. So it's been a bit of a ramble, but I'd really love to get your feedback on this. I'd love to know how you feel about all of this. And honestly, it was something that, talking about it, I felt quite scared to talk about it, because I felt like other coaches would think, oh, well, she's got a mindset block. Isn't that terrible that she doesn't want to grow a business to 6 figures? She's got a terrible mindset block around money or whatever. And like I said, I'm quite confident in talking about it now, because I know that that's not the case, and I've done the work to kind of look at the way that I want to do that. And like I say, it's not actually about the money. It's not actually about the 6 or 7 figures at all. It's about the approach to it. So if you are a coach who has kind of seen that and picked up on some of that, and again, a lot of the way that some people have used that to sell, they've created shame. And again, really interesting that's been what my experience has been. I think there was shame that I wasn't reaching that point. And I think that's where a lot of people who were really bought into that culture around the 6 and 7 figure business, it created shame in a lot of people. It created this gap where you felt like, oh, if I'm not achieving that, if I'm not achieving that level of success, then I'm not good enough. And that's where people made a lot of money, basically based on people's shame. And that is something that I have really consciously tried to buy out of with my business and myself, so that I'm really clear on the ways that I want to show up and help my clients, but the things that I want to engage in, the coaches that I want to work with and learn from as well. And like I say, for me, really what I keep coming back to for my own business is, I want a cozy coaching business where my financial needs are not just met, but exceeded vastly, so that I'm actually really thriving. I want to do work that is meaningful and that helps people and that is not exploitative or extractive. I want to be able to design the way that I live my life around, and I want my business to be part of that, but to have my days look the way that I want them to look, to wake up on a morning and think, I am really excited about what I've got going on today. This feels really, really good. This is the way that I want to live my life, because honestly, life is too short for anything else. And that was the realization I had many, many years ago that has led me to where I am now. Life is too short for anything else. And yes, it takes work. And yes, it takes investing in yourself. And yes, it takes a lot of internal work. I did an episode of the show, I think it was last week, where I was talking about some advice. And one of the things that I said was, growing your coaching business is going to be like one of the biggest personal development projects you'll ever go through. And that is absolutely the case, but it is so, so worthwhile. So for me, that's what building a cozy coaching business is all about. And yeah, I hope that this resonates. I hope it's, made you think about something differently. I'd love to know, do you want a cozy coaching business? Is that something that you resonate with, that you want to build towards? How do you feel about the 6 and 7 figure kind of success kind of culture around that? Please DM me on Instagram. I'd love to know if this has resonated in any way. It would be really, really helpful. Sometimes, it's always nice just to get a bit of feedback from these episodes of the show where I'm kind of talking about random stuff. It's really, really good. And again, if this does resonate and if you want to build a business in this way and have that foundation of your business actually reflecting the lifestyle that you want to have, and to do it in this kind of cozy, wholehearted way that I feel is the way that I obviously do things, then do check out Wholehearted Business. We will be opening in September. Wholehearted Business is my 12-month group program. It is designed to help you create an aligned client attraction system. It's all about getting more clients, growing your business overall by creating a system in your business that supports not only the fact that you need to get clients and generate income, but also, because it's aligned, is about it looking the way that you want it to look. And the foundational thing, like one of the first things that we do in Wholehearted Business when you join and we look at all the resources that we've got, is that we look specifically at like, how do you want your business actually to show up in your life? Like what are your core desired feelings? Like, what are your values? How can we ensure that your business is actually meeting all these things? Because when your business is set up without looking at that, that's when you're more likely to go off course. You're more likely to grow your business in ways that isn't actually fulfilling to you. And, newsflash, you can have all the money in the world, but if it's not actually meeting the needs that you've got and it's not actually giving you the lifestyle that you want ultimately, then you're just putting yourself back in the space where you might have been in a 9-to-5 that you hated, or, in a corporate job that wasn't fulfilling. So we always start with that in Wholehearted Business. So do check that out. Like I say, we're going to be opening in September. You can hop on the wait list just to make sure that you get first dibs as well. So do check that out. And yeah, I hope that has been interesting. Like I say, please do let me know, and I will see you again next week, guys. Take care. Bye.